Permanent Secretary, Mr. Alan Strong, our Deputy Director of Social Services, Mrs. Mavis Darling-Hill, our Assistant Directors of the Department of Social Services, and staff of the Department of Social Services, to our distinguished panel, and to all these wonderful persons representing all these wonderful communities of persons with disabilities here tonight. I think we should say yay! As you can see, I am excited. I am excited to be in Grand Bahama, first of all. And I am excited to be able to, on behalf of the government of the Bahamas, finally have worked on, in a final phase, and headed to Parliament, a piece of legislation for persons with disabilities. This legislation will provide for equal opportunities for you. It will speak to employment issues. It will speak to transport issues. It will speak to health insurance issues. It will speak to anything that it needs to speak to, because what isn't in the bill? You know, we have a commission, a national commission that will review the bill from time to time, and whatever they think missing, we have to go back at it. But right now, we are satisfied that we have a document that you can be proud of, that it will do what it is set out to do. On September 24th, 2013, the Bahamas signed on to the United Nations Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And in signing on to that convention, we join the entire world in saying that we want to provide equal opportunities for every citizen within our gates. We also made a commitment that we would look at how we could put in place legislation to ensure your rights. We made a commitment that wherever in the Bahamas it is decided that a building will be built with public access, that the public must access, that they must take into consideration persons with disabilities. We made a commitment that the Bahamas will become disability, I'm sorry, let me make sure I say this right now, that the Bahamas will, in whatever it does, ensure disability inclusive development. That means sidewalks, okay? That means anywhere where the public has access. And so we are delighted that with this legislation, it's been a long road, it's been a hard road. Many of you have advocated for many, many years, and you saw no light at the end of the tunnel. But I invite you to look at me and see that light shining through the tunnel. And so it is certainly my pleasure to be able to do this on behalf of the government of the Bahamas, to bring this to you. And the Bahamas became, anybody could tell me what number the Bahamas became when it signed on? And none of you know what who made the name. Oh, yes?
150.
Pardon?
150.
Almost there, almost there. The Bahamas became the 157th country to sign on to the United Nations Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And I can tell you that we intend to go through this consultative process for the entire month of February. This Thursday we're in Grand Bahama. Next Thursday we expect to be in Abaco. The Thursday after we expect to be in Exuma. where we will be dialoguing again with persons with disabilities, the various organizations, and caregivers and parents, and anyone associated with persons with disabilities. Once that is completed, we are hoping that by the middle of March, we'll be able to get the bill in Parliament. And by the end of March, we are hoping that the bill will be passed into law. And if I was a rich woman, I'd send a ticket, put all of you on a plane and bring it to New Providence, to Parliament, but I'm definitely not a rich woman. However, we would be delighted for any of you once we're going to Parliament, because I can tell you, once we go into Parliament, we got to make a big to do about this, because this is important, isn't it?
That's right.
It's very important. And we're going to invite all of you, those who can, to come into Nassau and join us as we take this bill to Parliament. And then after we've signed, and after the passing of the bill is completed, we have one more task with regard to the convention, and that is to go back to New York and ratify the convention. And then it's over, right? Okay, so definitely those are the steps we're taking, but I invite you to be open and to share whatever your concerns are. We've had discussions with the employers on how the legislation will impact employment or businesses. We have also begun or initiated discussions with the insurance community, so that we'll be able, because there are some concerns that they have. But I can tell you, in all the consultations that we've been doing, most of the persons are 99% on board with the legislation. And so I don't think that any concern so far has been anything that we cannot work out. And so I do not foresee any difficulties at all with this legislation. But you know how people go. They can always come up with some things, but we even ain't looking at any negatives. We only looking at positives, because whatever it is, we have to work it out, because you have a right. You are citizens of this country, and you have a right for your country to look out for you. It should never be that people are excluding you from any situation. If you cannot get into a building. In fact, I continue to say, our consultant Iris Adley continues to tell us, you know, what we as able-bodied people see as disabled friendly, sometimes it's not. She says you may be able to get around, but when you get to the door, you can't get your chair in the door. Or if you get your chair in the door, you know, there's a restroom that you can't, you can't get access to. So not every access is access. So this legislation will put in place provisions that you will have even an inspectorate that will go around from place to place, and wherever they see public accessible places that are supposed to be accessible to the public and they're not disabled friendly, then they can make recommendations on how to change. And so without further ado, I really want to hear from you tonight, and I'm going to just take my seat.